Hello everyone. I'm Izzet Fatih Senturk from Bursa Technical University in Turkey. And here I represent our working group named Mike's Friends. This working group was formed in Haifa last year, which was organized by the Cost Action, investigating the wider impacts of autonomous and connected transport. Okay. Our world is currently going underway a massive transformation in terms of the population growth and the urbanization. And considering the limited resources of our planet, it is not sustainable. Because of this, we need to make better decisions to improve the operational efficiency of various sectors. And good decisions require availability of high quality data. And as we know, data is considered as one of the most valuable assets nowadays. As Mike's Friends, we are more interested in the transport sector because transportation affects our daily lives directly. Consider the waiting times in traffic and the monetary cost of transportation. It affects the life quality of us, and transportation sector is one of the major contributors of the greenhouse gas emissions. And because of this, we want to improve the efficiency of transportation. We need smart solutions for mobility. And one of the solutions for smart mobility is Maas, mobility as a service. It is a paradigm which provides a unified ecosystem of available transport options without the requirement of vehicle ownership. It involves various stakeholders like the users, infrastructure providers, or service providers. But for this system to be successful, stakeholders must share their data. First of all, the users will have concerns for data privacy. The companies will be reluctant to share their data because it is their asset. And also there are regulations which limits the data governance and the sharing of data. For instance, there is GDPR, which limits how the user should be informed about the data processing. So we think that maybe blockchain technology can address some of the issues of Maas. Blockchain has some features like decentralization, transparency, immutability, and it can address some of the problems of Maas, like payment integration, trust between different stakeholders for their collaboration, and the data sharing between them. And it is also possible to define smart contracts which involve multiple stakeholders and ensure it is performance. We see some of the opportunities, the business opportunities as given here, like authentication of the users, disintermediation, and the reduction of the transaction costs. For instance, according to GDPR, the General Data Protection Regulation, the users must be informed about the data collection and how the specific purpose of the data processing should be provided to the user. And in Maas, if one of the stakeholders shared the user data, the next stakeholder may use the data in a different way from what has been informed to the user. But with blockchain, with the private keys, the users will have private keys, and this will imply the consent. And since the data is encrypted, the raw data will be restricted, and the sharing of the data will not be without the consent of the user. And by exploiting zero-knowledge proofs, the data will be able to process without direct access. In here, you can see the data flow between different Maas stakeholders. Here we have our user, Mike. And according to our use case, Mike will meet with his friends at the evening and go to a restaurant. So the system will have the information like Mike's calendar. So the system will know exactly at what time Mike is going out of the office. And the system will have Mike's travel preferences, like what mode of transport operation he prefers. And the system has also access to his bank information. The system is also connected to the smart city infrastructure, for instance, the roadside units. And these roadside units will be able to get data regarding the weather conditions. And also, it is possible to obtain the personal commercial data of the user. So this is only for one user, but the system has this information for all the users. So by considering all this mass amount of data, the system will understand if there will be a traffic jam. So the system can recommend Mike to change the destination. Instead of going to a Mexican restaurant, would you like to go to a Chinese restaurant today with some amount of discount or with some other incentives? By using this, it will have some advantages like the reduction in congestion, the increased productivity because there will be less congestion, the reduction in the air pollution, the reduction in the accidents, and increased mobility for the users. In the next slide, we can see in more detail. The user here, his calendar, the travel preferences. The user can estimate the time of arrival, and the system has the real-time location data of Mike. So it can understand, it can estimate how long it will take based on the current traffic condition. If it will take more than the usual time, the system will recommend Mike to some alternative places based on historical profile data. What kind of food he likes, what kind of transportation modes he prefers. So this is the general idea, mobility as a service, but backed up, complemented with the blockchain technology. Here we can see some of the short-term opportunities and risks. One opportunity is the improved fairness in listing. MIC will be provided with a list of options. And with the blockchain technology, we can ensure that this listing will be fair based on some criteria, some sorting methodology. But at least it will attract the early adopters. It will remove the barrier for them. Also, we can identify the incentives based on the socio-economical group, the geographical location, or the transportation mode. Some of the risks, of course, we need to provide the infrastructure for a blockchain-based Maas. Also, there are regulations, especially GDPR requires the case to be forgotten, for instance, and we know that there are some complications in the blockchain for that option. So, and the long-term opportunities and the risks. In the long term, we see that various stakeholders can collaborate instead of a competition. Some risks are like the compliance in the long term. Maybe there can be additional regulations which limits even more how to use and share data. So this can make the whole blockchain use case unfeasible. It's the risk. And also, one of the stakeholders may go out of business, so there is this risk of data ownership, and in case of a car accident, there is this liability issue for the system in the long term. This concludes my talk. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much. Time for only one question, only one short question. If not, I think we're ready to proceed to the next presentation. I'd like to welcome, thank you once again.